This tweet got more likes and views than I could ever dream of one of my YouTube videos getting, and I didn't even share the team in the post. But I made a promise to you guys in my tweet, and now I am obligated to tell you what Pokemon I used in this team that helped me get a 5-0. I did have some Dragapult battles recorded and ready to go for today, but who cares about that, Spice, because we want to see a team that actually is going to work in the Great League, and my goodness, is this a solid team. I ended up using Shadow Jumpluff lead with Diggersby on the save swap, and Diggersby is like the sort of mystery Pokemon that I was hyping up because I haven't seen a lot of content posted on Diggersby, and right now it is very underrated, I feel. And then I also have Dunsparce in the back. But for the record, Diggersby did get nerfed this season technically. However, because of how the meta has shifted, Diggersby is a lot better. For those of you who don't know, the fast move Mudshot got nerfed. It now generates a little bit less energy, and Diggersby has access to this move. Before, it was the recommended fast move for Diggersby, but now it's going to be Quick Attack. Mudshot and Quick Attack now actually generate the same amount of energy, so Diggersby is going to be able to reach its charged moves at the same pace, running either of those fast moves. But I think the better option now would be Quick Attack because there are some prominent flyers in the meta like Jumpluff and Mandibuzz, and Quick Attack is going to be neutral against them, whereas Mudshot is going to be 4 times resisted. And also there's a lot less steel types in the meta, so the Quick Attack is the better option to go with. Now, the reason why I said I struggled with this team is not because it's a solid team and it has really decent bulk and coverage, but also because look at the potential threats. All of the Pokemon that this team is weak to are Pokemon that are no longer in the meta. I haven't seen Skarmory in so long. Credilli I don't see often, and Gliscor as well is out of the meta. And then you have Alolan Sandshrew, not Sandslash, Alolan Sandshrew, which no one uses. Basically no one uses. Then you have Alolan Sandslash, but let's be honest, you have 2 Pokemon in the back that if they land one move on Alolan Sandslash, you're basically going to destroy it. So I really like how solid this team is against the current meta that we are seeing. The team is basically an ABB style team where you have a flying and grass type on the lead and 2 normal types in the back. The lead is going to be able to take care of fighters, grass types, and it's going to be able to take care of water types, which the backline might struggle a little bit against. And then your backline is going to be able to take care of whatever your lead is weak to. The most common ice type, I should say, in this meta is going to be that Alolan Sandslash. So the backline should be able to handle it. Your backline's also going to take care of those poison types like Clodsire, which again, your lead is going to be very weak to. That's enough discussion on the team. Let's get into the battles. Now, this first game I lose because I mess up, and also I was still getting used to the team. It takes me a few games to get used to a team and to really understand its matchups. But up first, we are going to be up against another Shadow Jumpluff. Now, our Jumpluff wins CMP because I have terrible IVs on my Jumpluff, so I have slightly higher attack than my opponent. But my opponent saw that I win CMP, so I called that they might try to swap out and catch a move on another Pokemon. However, I decided to blind swap as well, which was a really dumb idea. I should have just stayed in with my Jumpluff and gone for an Energy Ball. Then I would have taken my opponent's final shield. Also, I would have seen that a water type was coming in, and I probably shouldn't swap Diggersby into it, but I blind swap, I mess up, and now my Diggersby ended up being switch locked against a Feraligatr. I got destroyed. And then I also messed up against the Feraligatr when I brought the Jumpluff because I decided to go for a farm down. I couldn't farm them down completely. I ended up taking a Hydro Cannon and letting Jumpluff go. I had so much energy on that Jumpluff, but their Jumpluff left with a move, and I basically didn't want to give up my final shield. So this game was pretty much a disaster for me. The opponent's final Pokemon is going to be a Dunsparce of their own. You might be recognizing by now that Dunsparce and Jumpluff make a very solid core in the current Great League meta that we have. So I'm expecting to see a lot of teams with Jumpluff and Dunsparce. And I am not going to be able to win this because my opponent had a shield left, and even though I was ahead by energy, I wasn't going to be able to take their Dunsparce out. They were even able to reach a move on their Jumpluff and take my Dunsparce out, so GG's to the opponent. Moving on to the next battle, we are going to see a nice lead of Azumarill, but I am going to have to shield the Ice Beams because Ice-type moves are going to be double super effective against Jumpluff. However, we were able to take a shield from them with our energy ball, but then my opponent swaps into a Registeel, and I have to watch out for Focus Blast from this Registeel. I'm actually not sure if it one-shots the Dunsparce. I don't think it does. Also, confession time, I panicked and I swapped into Dunsparce, but I think now in hindsight, the better swap would have been Diggersby because Diggersby is much tankier and would be able to handle the Focus Blast a lot better if my opponent was going for Focus Blast, but they are going for Zap Cannon. Diggersby would have also resisted those, so there's that. Anyways, next time I do see a Registeel, I'll swap into Diggersby. Now, I was going to attempt to farm my opponent's Registeel down with the rollout, but my opponent swaps out into a Jumpluff, and I'm debuffed on Dunsparce. Otherwise, I would have stayed in and gone for the Rock Slides, but they were barely doing any damage. So I decided, because my opponent's final Pokemon is Azu, and I know that, I swap into Diggersby because it's not going to be doing amazing against Azu. I know I have that Fire Punch that is going to hit for super effective against the Jumpluff. I know shield everything on Diggersby. I have to save a shield for Jumpluff in case the Azu has Ice Beam. I bring in my Dunsparce and my opponent swaps into Azu, and thank goodness they throw their energy on Dunsparce. That's really good for me. I'm able to go for an energy ball now up against the Azu, and I can take it out with the aerial ace, and my opponent goes ahead and top left because their Jumpluff was not going to be able to take the win for them. So GG's to our opponent. Moving on to the next battle, this one's a little bit tricky because I have to watch out if my opponent is going to go for a poison type move. It looks like we reach the move at the same time. I can hit for super effective with the aerial ace, and if they had a poison type move, they can hit for super effective, but they are going for lunge. Now I swap out into my Diggersby because I am running an ABB team. If my opponent has a fighter, then I'm gonna have to draw it out now. But now thinking about it, Dunsparce might be the better save swap than Diggersby because Diggersby will in a lot of cases draw out a water type. In this case, we draw out a Greninja, but we managed to get it into the red, and now Jumpluff is going to be able to farm this Greninja down completely and have a lot of energy for if my opponent brings that Ariados back in. I should be able to reach 2 aerial aces against it, but they don't bring Ariados in. Their final Pokemon is a Dugong. I'm going to go for an energy ball. We get them into the yellow, and now I can bring in Dunsparce, no shield, whatever this is, because I think whatever the Ariados is going to throw, it will hurt more. I decide to shield the first lunge, thinking it was lunge, but they go for Trailblaze. I shouldn't have shielded the first move because now the next lunge is really going to hurt. And these rock slides are just not doing enough damage to this Ariados. I really need this out of the way. I need to live this. We live, we make it to another rock slide. I'm gonna be able to take this Ariados out, and I think I'm going to swap immediately into my Jumpluff because I don't want them farming my Dunsparce down. I am able to reach an aerial ace. It was super close, but we're able to take the Dugong out, and we're able to take that win. Moving on to the next battle. Okay, on this team, your answer to dragons is Jumpluff. I know it's not ideal, but Jumpluff is very spammy and it has a fairy type fast move. So we are going to stay in against this Dragonite. Gonna go for 2 aerial aces and take both of my opponent's shield in this first matchup. Okay, I'm going to no shield this now. I'm gonna let Jumpluff go because I don't think my opponent is gonna run a fighter in the back. Otherwise, they will be ABA weak to fairy types. So I bring in Dunsparce. I don't want them to farm my Jumpluff down. I go ahead and I shield the superpower, and my opponent brings in an Azu. This is good that we're seeing it here because Azu is going to be able to hit for super effective against our Diggersby. Now I'm just going to try to get it as low as I can, and I think I'm going to save my shields for Diggersby and hope that Diggersby can sweep. We go for another drill run here. It's of course not going to be enough to take this tanky Azu out, but my opponent has a lot of energy now, and I'm going to bring in Jumpluff and hope that my opponent throws their energy on the Jumpluff. They throw the move immediately. Thank goodness they did that. And then I can bring in Diggersby and safely farm their Azu down, but they swap into a Lantern running Spark. That is going to be resisted by our Diggersby, and we are going to be able to hit for super effective with those Scorching Sands, so my opponent goes ahead and top lefts. Moving on to the next battle, we are going to see a Mandibuzz on the lead. This is not great, but also not the worst for us. Here's the thing. On PvPoke, if you open PvPoke right now, you go to Mandibuzz's matchups, its key wins are Jumpluff, but then you go to Jumpluff's matchups, and its key wins are Mandibuzz. So I don't really understand. I guess it's the non-shadow version of Jumpluff. That's why the Mandibuzz wins against it. But the Shadow Jumpluff should be able to win the one shield against Mandibuzz because that Fairy Wind damage starts to add up. Anyways, I save swap into my Dunsparce. Now I'm using Dunsparce as a save swap. And my opponent brings in a Gastrodon. I'm okay with this. I am going to let my Dunsparce go. Actually, I'm able to reach another move. The Body Slam is not enough to take us out, and we're able to win the matchup against Gastrodon. Unfortunately, my opponent is able to farm us down with their Mandibuzz, but I'm going to bring in Diggersby to absorb whatever this energy is. That Dark Pulse does barely any damage. I love the bulk on Diggersby. And then I swap into Jumpluff, hoping that my opponent would stay in the Mandibuzz, but they have a Clodsire in the back. I'm going to throw this Energy Ball, and then I'm going to let Jumpluff go. At this point, my Diggersby should be able to take this win for me. I'm going to bring Diggersby in now here, and I thought I could bait with a Fire Punch because my opponent has 2 shields left, but they no shield. I should have just gone for the Scorching Sands. I would have also possibly debuffed their attack, but I decide to shield the Earthquake. Earthquake is going to be the harder hitting move. These Dark Pulses will not do as much damage. And I'm going to start going for these Fire Punches now against this Mandibuzz. My opponent is going to start investing their shields. I can go for another one here, and now I have to watch for a potential catch. So I'm just going to keep farming. I decide not to shield here, and thank goodness I don't shield because they go for an Aerial Ace. Now, I was watching for a potential catch. My opponent brings in that Clodsire. I start farming up a little bit of extra energy because I want to have that Fire Punch ready to go for that Mandibuzz, and we're able to take that win. GG's to our opponent. That is going to be a 4-1 in that set. We lost that first game because I messed up and I wasn't used to the team, but we're getting used to it. We're performing a lot better now. Moving on to the next match, we are going to be up against a Shadow Alolan Sandslash. Okay, we want to see how I take care of this. I'm going to swap into Dunsparce. My opponent is staying in. They go for a Drill Run, and then they swap into a Swampert. Okay, very interesting. At least I draw the Water type out here, and it's not going to be up against my Diggersby. I go for a Drill Run, and then I decide to let this go. Now, I didn't think my opponent would be running Sludge Wave, so I was going to go for a really ambitious full farm down, but then I get Sludge Waved. Okay, I deserved that. I was getting very confident, but they Sludge Wave me. I leave with an Aerial Ace, but I have to swap into my Diggersby, and let's hope Diggersby with 2 shields can take care of this for me. My opponent's final Pokemon is going to be a Shadow Feraligatr. Okay. At least I'm resisting the fast moves. I'm going to go ahead and double shield my Diggersby here because whatever the Alolan Sandslash is going to throw at us, it is going to hurt less than these Hydro Cannons. So, shielding this next Hydro Cannon. My opponent has a shield left. I am going to bait. Oh, no! I go ahead and I catch the Hydro Cannon on my Jumpluff. And now I should be able to farm their Feraligatr down, but they recognize this, so they swap into their Alolan Sandslash, and now I have so much energy for the Sandslash. I'm gonna go for a Scorching Sands here. We were able to take their final shield with that Fire Punch, and now we can farm the Feraligatr down, and Diggersby won that game for us. GG's to our opponent. This is why I am telling you guys Diggersby is so underrated. It's so good. Moving on to the next battle, we are going to be up against another Shadow Jumpluff. Hopefully I win CMP this time too. I'm gonna go for these Aerial Aces, and my opponent farms up to a potential Acrobatics, but even if this isn't Acrobatics, I'm gonna go ahead and shield it because I want my Jumpluff to stay healthy, and I know I will be able to throw the next Aerial Ace before they can if I win CMP. But they live with very little HP. I was really expecting that to take them out. It's not enough. And then they swap into a Quagsire for some reason. I'm gonna go for an Aerial Ace here, and we take a shield from them, and then I catch the Stone Edge on my Dunsparce. Now, I swapped into Dunsparce in case my opponent would go for an Aqua Tail bait. Aqua Tail is going to hurt Diggersby, and so I caught the Stone Edge on Dunsparce. I know that if I was 100% sure it was going to be Stone Edge, I could catch it on Diggersby and it would be resisted. But I let Dunsparce go, and then I bring in Jumpluff. My opponent attempted to catch a move from me on their 1 HP Jumpluff, but we keep farming. We're able to take them out. Now we have a lot of energy on my Jumpluff, and my opponent's final Pokemon is an Oranguru. I shouldn't have stayed in because they were probably going to farm us down, and I swap into my Diggersby. I take the first Trailblaze. Gonna go ahead and shield this next Trailblaze because it is going to hurt more than the first one. And my opponent swaps into Quagsire and snipes our Diggersby. Okay, I need to leave with a lot of energy on my jump bluff if I'm going to take their Oranguru out. I'm able to make it to another aerial ace on the Oranguru. It is going to be enough to KO, and we're going to take another win there. GG's to our opponent. Moving on to the next battle, this next opponent I ran into earlier in the evening while I was running Dragapult, and I got absolutely destroyed. But on the lead, we are going to see a Dunsparce. Now my plan is to throw an energy ball and weaken the Dunsparce, and then I'm going to swap into one of my back Pokemon. However, for some reason, my opponent swaps out into an Oranguru. They go for a Brutal Swing here, and it doesn't do that much damage to our really bulky jump bluff. Gonna go for another energy ball, get them into the yellow, and now I am comfortable swapping my own Dunsparce into this Oranguru. I don't bring in my Diggersby because this has access to Trailblaze, and Trailblaze will hurt. We are going to be able to get the Oranguru out of the way with the drill runs, and then my opponent brings their Dunsparce back in. They go for a drill run. I have enough energy for a move, so I am going to go for it as well. And then they swap out into a Girafarig. Okay, I didn't know that this thing has access to Trailblaze, so I let the first move go. It's a Trailblaze, and it hurts so much. I'm just going to go straight Fire Punch up against this Girafarig because it's so glassy, and I think one Fire Punch should be enough to take it out. I'm gonna go for another one, and we take both of our opponent's shields. Now, I have 2 shields left, but I have really low HP Pokemon, and my opponent's fast moves are doing so much damage, but I'm going to go ahead and shield the Psychic Fangs. It looks like they are running Trailblaze and Psychic Fangs. I make it to that aerial ace. It's enough to take them out, and then I have enough health on my Dunsparce to reach a move, take their final Pokemon out, and we're able to take that win. GG's to our opponent, but I love the spicy team. Moving on to the next battle, we are going to be up against a Wigglytuff. Now, this is a little bit tricky, but also Jump Bluff is very bulky, so I'm fine staying in this, and I probably should have baited on the first move because a lot of Wigglytuffs will shield the first move, expecting themselves to debuff you with their Icy Wind. I'm able to reach another move before they debuff us. It is going to be the aerial ace. We get them into the yellow, then I shield Icy Wind and I swap into my safe swap, which I can now confirm is Dunsparce. For some reason, at the beginning of the video, I thought I was safe swapping Diggersby, but obviously I'm safe swapping Dunsparce, and it's working really, really well. So I'm sorry about that misinformation, guys. My opponent brings in a Shadow Golurk, and I can't farm it down with the quick attacks on Diggersby, so I have to bring in Jump Bluff, shield the Shadow Punch, and I am going to go for a full farm down on the Golurk. Thankfully, it doesn't get to another move. Go for this aerial ace on the Wigglytuff. It lands, we take it out, and my opponent's final Pokemon is going to be a Drifblim. Okay, this is a little bit tough for me because the quick attacks are going to be resisted from Diggersby, and all I can do is go for these fire punches, and unfortunately my opponent is going to be debuffing us. At least their fast move is resisted as well, but their Icy Winds are going to be hitting for super effective because of our ground typing. Now I'm watching my switch timer and I am super debuffed, so I'm thinking I save my next Fire Punch. I can survive this Icy Wind, swap into my Jump Bluff, and actually reach an aerial ace against the Drifblim. We're going to be able to take it out with our Jump Bluff and take that win. We didn't even need the Fire Punch from our Diggersby. Moving on to the final battle of the video, we are going to be up against a normal Feraligatr on the lead. This is a decent lead. I just have to watch out for a potential Ice Beam. This was 7 Shadow Claws, so I go ahead and I shield. It is the Ice Beam. That would have been so deadly. I bait with an aerial ace here and we get a shield from them. Now I am going to go for the energy ball, and I can safely shield my next move because I should be able to reach an energy ball before my opponent can reach a Hydro Cannon and an Ice Beam. So even if they baited there, I was going to be fine. I go for an energy ball, but my opponent manages to catch it on their Clodsire. I am going to build up to another one. Now, I did something really risky here because I thought my opponent would be running Stone Edge. Stone Edge is 7 Poison Stings, so I counted to 7 and then I swapped into Diggersby. It turns out it's a Sludge Bomb. If my opponent had thrown at 6, which is how many Poison Stings a Sludge Bomb needs, then my Jump Bluff would have been dead, but we managed to take the Clodsire out with the Diggersby. My opponent brings that Feraligatr back in. They go for a Hydro Cannon. Now they are energy dry, and they're not going to be able to reach an Ice Beam before I can reach an Energy Ball. but they swap into their own Diggersby. I have a lot of energy on my jump left, so I am going to weaken the Diggersby with an energy ball before swapping out into my Dunsparce. It would have been nice for me to leave with energy on the Dunsparce, but my opponent was able to debuff us with their Scorching Sands, so now I am going to have to throw both of the drill runs here to take this Diggersby out. I think they even survived this next one. Let's see. Yeah, they live with 1 HP and then they swap into Feraligatr, but I am going to be able to go for that energy ball on the Feraligatr, take it out, and then Fairy Wind the Diggersby down and take that final win, giving us a 5-0 in this set. And it is the set that matters the most to me because it's all Stardust rewards. Anyways, guys, that is going to be the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed this one. I really like this team and I want to continue using it. If you guys like my content, please consider subscribing. Maybe leave a like. It helps me out so much. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.